Hello everybody, I'm the Archivist and welcome to Out of Ink. This is the show where I talk about comics and comic media, so let's get started. Now, I could have started with my first comic book, which was the Wonder Woman from the New 52, but I thought that would be too easy and I want to do that later. So, in light of the recent reboot, I want to backtrack a little bit and talk about a comic book from that one. So, let me present to you Batwoman issue 0 and Batwoman issue 1. Let's get started. Batwoman was one of the original titles used to kick off the New 52 back in 2010. While Batwoman's character wasn't necessarily new, having roots going all the way back to the 1950s, this current Batwoman was revamped from the original Kathy Kane to the new character Kate Kane in 2006. The original Batwoman was Kathy Kane, who was introduced in Detective Comics number 233 in 1956. She was a rival crime fighter and love interest for Batman, and this was to combat rumors of homosexuality perpetrated by the book Seduction of the Innocent. This book was written by Dr. Frederick Wortham, and it blamed comic books as corrupting the youth of America, but that's another story for another time. In 2006, a new idea for the character was introduced in 52 number 7. This was Kate Kane, Bruce Wayne's cousin on his mom's side, who was also a Bat-themed crime fighter who dealt with combating supernatural forces. And she was a Jewish lesbian meant to bring more diversity to DC's lineup. Ironically, she's one of the highest profile LGBT characters today in comics, considering her origin. Now that you got the idea about who Batwoman is, let's get into Batwoman issue 0. Issue 0 started with the creative team of J.H. Williams III, W. Hayden Blackman, and Amy Reeder. We'll talk more about Williams and Blackman for issue 1. Reeder has illustrated and done cover art for many comics, most notably being Madame Xanadu, Rocket Girl, Supergirl, and her own comic, Fool's Gold. The story for this comic is all about Batman spying on Kate Kane to determine if she is Batwoman. Looks like there's more than one creeper in Gotham City, am I right? Ayo! The cool thing about this book is that there are two sequences to it that usually occupy half of each page. One half is drawn by Williams, and it focuses on Batman following and observing Batwoman as she fights a cult called the Religion of Crime. The other half is drawn by Reeder, and it follows Bruce using different disguises to spy on and test Kate. The two art styles are very different, but they blend together and that make the story memorable in all the best ways. Williams' art is very harsh, frequently bordering on being hyper-realistic, which creates a very unnatural effect. Reeder's art is softer and gentler on the eyes, but it's just as expressive as Williams's. The writing for this book is airtight. Batman's narration is spot on, and Williams and Blackman write Batman very well. The combination of Batman's narration and journal entries complete both halves of his investigation, creating an effective explanation of Kate's backstory and her life as Batwoman, which is surprising considering how much Batman is in my Batwoman comic. Issue 0 isn't very long since it has a preview of Issue 1 attached to it, so that makes a good segue to move on to Issue 1. Now, Issue 1 launched in September back in 2011. This time the creative team was comprised of only Williams and Blackman. Now, Williams is the writer for Batwoman as well as the artist. Now, this guy has drawn, inked, colored, or made covers for so many comics, so I'm just gonna name a couple. You ready? Batman, Death Wish, Promethea, Jonah Hex, X-Men, Wolverine, Judge Dredd, Detective Comics, Green Lantern, Justice League of America, Fables, Hellblade, Weird Tales, Sons of Superman, Shade, and many more! Blackman is the co-writer for Batwoman. Blackman has written for other superheroes like Zatanna and Elektra, but Star Wars comics are his forte. In fact, he's written 10 Star Wars titles and 2 reference books, and on top of being a writer, he's also a video game designer. He works on games like Star Wars Galaxy, Star Wars The Force Unleashed 1 and 2, Star Wars Starfighter, Jedi Starfighter, and Mafia 3. Together, Williams and Blackman co-wrote Batwoman for 24 issues until they left after a disagreement with the DC editorial management. You see, DC wouldn't let Blackman and Williams do a few key things with Batwoman. They wouldn't let them expand Killer Croc's backstory, use their original ending for the book, and, spoiler alert, let them show Kate and her lover Maggie getting married. DC's reason behind this was that superheroes shouldn't have happy personal lives. So everyone who believes that, raise your hand. Yeah, that's right, nobody! Because it's dumb! And you're a sad person. I'm going to admit that I'm pretty bitter about this decision, and obviously Williams and Blackman were a little put out too. Anyway, going back to issue 1, the main story for this issue is that there is a spirit called the Weeping Woman, or La Llorona, that is drowning and kidnapping children, and Batwoman is trying to recover the kids. There is some other stuff that happens too, like Kate Kane and Detective Maggie Sawyer meeting up and making a date, a government agent being assigned to discover Batwoman's true identity, Batwoman retraining her cousin Betty Kane, aka Flamebird, Kate confronting her father about her twin sister Beth, and Batman showing up to ask Batwoman a question. Now I know this sounds like a lot, and it is, but it all actually fits together. Each segment flows together flawlessly, explaining just enough for the reader to understand what's going on without dumping loads of exposition on them, and then gliding gracefully into the next part of the book. The art for this book is amazing. It's flowing and loaded with color, and the first page alone is gorgeous, and that should be enough to get you hooked. If it's not, I have no hope for you. The way the panels are organized is often very unique, opting for more creative formats instead of the usual straightforward square layout that we're all so used to. I will admit that might be disorienting during the first read for this comic, but that could just be me. Either way, it really adds to the story. Both Batwoman issue 0 and issue 1 are great books. Batwoman issue 0 sets the stage beautifully, and Batwoman 1 slays it. Both books have compelling stories, and you get a great sense of who Kate Kane is. From her brightest smiles to the ferocity she shows in her battles, you really start to get a feeling for her, and I love it, and I love her. The art is breathtaking because it captures motion and tells the story beautifully, and the writing is amazing. What more do you need in a book? I love these comics, and I highly recommend them to you. I definitely think you guys should go check them out. So, with that, I'm the Archivist. I hope to see you guys next time, and thanks for watching. Bye.